Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this weekend edition of just a little bit of Aramaic. And as you can see on your screen, we are still in the Sermon on the Mount, Beatitudes from Matthew chapter 5. And we're looking at verse 7. And this is a beautiful verse as we unpack the Aramaic and um, reading the script so you can hear how it sounds as Tu Vaihun Lam Rak Mane Da'ihun Nevun Rakme. And it has a nice melody to it. But of course, in English, we see different ways of translating it. And let's take a look at some of the different translations that we are familiar with. The King James Version being, Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. So we see here, in Etheridge, blessed are the merciful, for upon them shall be mercy. Murdoch says, for on them shall be mercy. Lamsa says, for to them shall be mercy. So we have a number of different ways of trying to attack this or look at this to study as to, we understand, the Tuvayhun, the blessed, Ashrei, we've gone through that. But here we have this word that's translated as merciful. So it's blessed if they are already merciful, they shall obtain mercy from someone else, or for them shall be mercy, on them shall be mercy. So there's just I think we get the picture that if you show mercy to someone else, you'll receive mercy in return. I think that's the basic understanding. But there's just a few little things here that beg for us to unpack. The first one here is this idea of being merciful. Where does this word come from? We seem to have an understanding of it in our day and time, but was there a different understanding that was in the day and the time when this was spoken, when Jesus was speaking to them as they're sitting in the grass on the hillside? And when he said these words, what would they have thought that might be somewhat more rich than what we have 2,000 years removed? So let's just take a look here at um, unpacking these words. First, we have the word that's merciful. Um, And I like to always look to see where it's used. So this word merciful is only used this one time here, which I find that somewhat interesting. And it's got a lamed preposition on front of it, and even a mem preposition, which kind of gives you, it could be the to and the from put together. Um, Giving you an idea that's to them, from them, a little bit more of an understanding of something that's internalized and that's happening deep within them. Of course, here they don't really give us much of a deeper look. They just say that they're merciful. So let's just put that on the side right now and take a look at this other word down here, which is also translated as merciful. You'll see the ID number is close but different than the first one we looked at. So let's unpack this and take a look at where this might be used. And of course, here we see that there's a lot more usage of it. So the end result of what it's desiring us to be shows up more in the rest of the Bible. What's also interesting here is just the word itself comes from the word rakam. So we're going to take a look at Marcus Jastrow, unpack this, and let's see if I can make this a little bigger so you can see it better. We see that there's quite a few entries here. It uses the word for love. There are books that will explain the depth of this word, meaning different type of love and of cherishing. I'll show you a great book for you to further your studies on a little bit later. But here there's quite a bit about love. Go to the next page. It continues with being compassionate, showing pity, having loved or to be pitied. But here's a really another interesting one, that it is in reference to the womb, to the place where a child is conceived. And the thought behind it, that maybe the people on the sermon that were hearing Jesus talk about the Sermon on the Mount would have understood, is this Racham is in its basic form thought of the love that a mother has for her child in the womb, where the child has not yet done anything wrong, maybe kicked her a few times and given her some indigestion, but otherwise, this is a pure love. It's not based upon what the child did, it's not based upon anything external other than she's carrying this child. She understands it's a part of her, it's growing inside of her, and this natural love that is there between a mother and a child, I'll say in a perfect sense, because we know there are, you know, anomalies to this, but in the perfect sense of it, that this love that a mother has for her child who hasn't done anything other than uh, become a part of her and grow inside of her, and this love and this bond that's formed during the time that she's carrying this child is that type of base understanding for this word, rakam. And that's what makes this so beautiful to me here, in this type of thought process of this type of love that isn't depending upon what you do. It's based upon your relationship. And I believe that's what Jesus was really trying to talk about here. We see that the word used, and again, this is a very wooden or simple translation, it'd be blessed, merciful, concerning, or about, and then becoming and turning. So there's an understanding of a change and a progression being here. What's also interesting is this word is in an imperfect form, which means it's not completed. It's not a completed action. It's something that's continually. So when a person begins showing mercy, has an essence of feelings of compassion and mercy, and not only just feels them, but acts upon them, they reflect in a merciful, compassionate person, but it also spreads itself. It's something you give, but it's something that you also receive. So I think there's two parts of this here. One is that if you begin to show mercy, the mercy multiplies inside of you. You become more merciful and more compassionate. And then what comes back to you will reflect the level of mercy and compassion that you give out will return back to you. Want to look at the book that I highly recommend. It's written by Chaim Ben Torah, a teacher who's taught me so much about the Hebrew and Aramaic language. He wrote a whole book on this word rakam and the love that is beyond love. A fantastic book. It's not too long, 172 pages. I would just highly recommend, if you have any interest in unpacking this word and getting to know a little bit more about God's love for us and how he views us, and the type of love and compassion that we are to give back to him and to show to others. I think this book spells it out so very, very beautifully. Also want to take a look at the Hebrew, and just to see how they compare. And here that the Hebrew is somewhat different. And they add a few more words that may help uh, give about the thought. So again, not sure where this came from, but it just goes, merciful, which to them, and it's interesting that the words are repeated twice. There's like an emphasis in the Hebrew on the mercy that's given to them. It will be then mercy back to them again. And that repetition is not found in any other Hebrew version of Matthew that I have found. It's not replicated in the Peshitta, but it does show up here in this Matthew, which is Harley Matthew, which is why I really like this, because it's got some things to point out the emphasis on this word key being very important. And so with that today, I just want to leave that short lesson with you. Just so happy that you have taken the time to be a part of this class, and pray that it's a blessing to you. And we hope to see you again next week. Bye-bye.